Much. Our November 2nd F.I.S.P meeting is ready to go. Everyone's present except Siobhan. She's going to be here in a little while. Pat Crowley should be here. Ray's going to be here at 6:30. And John DePietro decided to step down for my committee. And Masha Khan's not here. So everybody else is here.
So we have an open seat, so.
Yeah, we have one open seat.
Posted on the website.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna, Ray wants to be here for the contract, so we're gonna start with the site work commencement first. Is that okay with you, Tony?
Sure.
Okay.
Site work, we had a meeting this week with DPW, water, and electrical couldn't make it because I think they had a pole down somewhere. But electrical, the utility pole has been dropped. He's looking to do the underground. DPW will dig the trench for him. There was a question as to whether they would actually lay the pipe, put the conduit in, put the carriages in the ground, or whether they were just pulling the wire to the transformer. I spoke to John. They will do the conduit and the wire from the pole riser all the way to the transformer, including the transformer, drop off there. Our contractor will pick up from the secondary. So I've got a call in the hub survey that did the initial survey for us. I'm going to have the drawing transferred over to hub that has the layout, and he will go and stake the layout for the DPW to dig the trench. And so that should be fine. The only thing I did mention to John was that if there's a new service connection application account information that needs to be generated to work that through Anita. Similarly, on the water side, that requires a street opening and the state highway permit. So I've got that application. I expect to get it over to Anita this week before the end of the day tomorrow. That should be in process because we will need to open up the state highway. They do get a little concerned early November when you're wanting to open up a state highway and what we get for patch and all that. So hopefully they don't take too long to approve it. As Officer Dugan was just saying, we may have stubs out there for sewer, whether they've already tapped and stubbed off for that property. Seems to, we don't know that right now. So I'll confirm that over the next few days. Site work, we've already been in contact with RAC builders that they will start all of the hay bales, erosion control, silt fence once they're awarded the contract, and they know that. They've also got their site contractor lined up to do his portion of the work, and they are hoping to jump right into foundations. Now, as quickly as they'd like to jump into foundations, they still need concrete submittals, rebar submittals, all of the design documents, contracts, insurance, and bonds in hand before they start working out there. So we have a few weeks before we really think they're able to start any activity out there. The DPW is prepared to strip all of the topsoil, push it to the back property, claim off whatever topsoil they want to use for anywhere else around the site. That will widen out our road, it'll clear off the grass and the topsoil and the grubbings and get us ready to build. So.
Tony, on your schedule that you sent out earlier today through Procore, you were hoping to get all that site work done by November 23rd, 24th?
We were. I don't think that's accurate today.
Okay.
That schedule was kind of if we had proceeded a little bit sooner.
Okay.
And we held off pending town meeting and trying to get all the parties together.
Yep.
The water district, and I know you have the water commission, a letter, asking them to waive their fee, I think it says.
Mm-hmm.
Mike also raised the point that they don't have funds for the pipe, the valves, the connections, the other components that he needs. Is the water commission being expected to provide and install work at no cost?
Yeah, he and I spoke today, and What he's saying is that it would be best if we used their subcontractor that they use to do the work. So
Okay.
Water Department said, Mike Coveney, Superintendent from the Water District, said that they could purchase on our behalf what's needed for pipes, et cetera. And then we could use their contractor that they routinely use to get that work done, so it'll be at lower cost. It's a sole proprietor contractor. It will be, he's double checking the price, but we're pretty sure it's gonna be, well under the $10,000 limit for 3039M work. So, should be a decent price.
Okay, so I can't contract with him. He did give me the contact information. I'm perfectly able to take him out there, show him the drawings, give him copies of drawings, describe the work to him.
Yep.
Will he then contract with the Water Commission or DPW? Should I send him to
I think
you?
we should have it formally be through DPW.
Through DPW?
Yeah, but I'll talk to Butch about that tomorrow.
Okay. I think it was Dave
Edelberg.
Edelberg?
Yeah,
Roberti.
Liberty, yeah.
Okay, so then maybe I'll copy Butch on the appointment and have him join me out there.
Okay,
And I'll
perfect.
let you know as well.
Okay. Great.
So under that, he's already got a contract with the town, insurance, bonds, certificates.
He has all the insurances, et cetera, but they don't have a standing contract with him. They just use him on an as-needed basis. But as long as the work is under the $10,000, there's no procurement process other than
Right.
ensuring that we pay prevailing wage rates, which if he's a sole proprietor, we're not obligated to do.
Right. Okay. I will follow up on that. That was really the only kind of money impact issue that came out of the meeting, so.
Do we need to read this letter, or we just want to vote on it?
It's up to you if you want, we can read it out loud, or it's just,
Yeah, I just, on behalf of the Facilities Implementation and Strategic Planning Committee, I respectfully request that the board vote to waive any and all connection fees associated with the connection of the soon-to-be constructed police station at 141 Sterling Street. Is this a town project? It is hoped that you would be willing to waive these fees to reduce the cost of the station construction for the benefit of the town and its ratepayers. You were gonna sign it. We're gonna vote on it, then you can sign it.
yeah,
Right.
authorize me to send this letter out.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anything else on the DPW, Tony?
Nope.
Okay. Planning board status, we're gonna leave that till, tomorrow's meeting. I think everybody, that's what we're gonna set the whole meeting for tomorrow. That's what the discussion's for. Have a meeting for tomorrow at 6, and we will, they have a list of some concerns they had, and we're gonna go over them and, hopefully get them straightened out by then. We agree about that.
So we're not gonna start it tonight at all?
At the end, if we have time, let's finish, see what we can finish first. Let's see. Senior Center Design Committee Subcommittee membership, so we want to pick out, no, we're not, we're just waiting for Ray, he wants to be here for the, both of the, finance,
Both the cut?
yeah. So we need to get a subcommittee of no more than 4 people for the senior center project. I know one thing, Bob certainly should be on it. I think Phil should be on it, and we need 2 other members. You want to go on it, Ray, Raj? I mean, I will.
I don't know if, Siobhan or Pat want to, I don't know the answer.
You want to wait till they come in?
It's up to you, I mean, if you want to go on it, then.
They should go on.
John, how do we accommodate Lisa? Is she officially named to that? Of course, she wouldn't be able to vote.
No, she'll be a,
Associate.
associate.
Ex officio, yeah.
Okay.
Come on, we just talked about the, subcommittee for the senior center.
Yep.
Bob, Phil, Raj, I will do myself unless you want to do it.
Go for it. I just don't have the time.
So moved. Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
And then, the schedule. So, I know, Bob, you were interested, this is something that the seniors are interested in. We need to, once we get to, Catlin working on the plans, it's probably, am I right, 4 to 6 weeks?
He seemed to think he could pull it together pretty quickly, so I would say 4 weeks.
So once we have the plans, and everybody's comfortable with the plans, I think we would schedule a special town meeting to vote on to get the money to go forward with the actual architectural fees, to build for the construction documents.
All right, and if I may, step by step, in all likelihood then, that would preclude us from having a meeting a special town meeting prior to January.
I wouldn't think we'd be able to get one before January.
I don't really think we want to have it before January. Personally,
I don't know, because it's November 2nd, 4 weeks, 6 weeks is, you're talking middle of December, then you got everybody away on vacation for Christmas.
Holidays.
And holidays. I would assume somewhere right after the first of the year.
Well, as you no doubt know, Lisa and I have already had a couple of preliminary meetings with John Catlin, and I must say they were very productive. And looking at this, I think that if we were targeting for the full funding for the Springtown meeting, I don't think we can make that. My sense is that with the inherent delays of notification for special town meetings and then getting those bid documents, the architectural drawings in a biddable format, and then being able to bid it and have it ready for the Springtown meeting, I don't think we can meet that timeline, to be quite honest with you. I think that probably our frame of mind ought to be something more geared to the October town meeting of next year, and that way we're not running helter-skelter, trying to meet literally the sort of deadlines that we had to with the police department. I felt quite uncomfortable with that, in that, and it was pointed out at one of our meetings by one gentleman, that we were being asked to give firm numbers that we wouldn't have until tomorrow. No names will be mentioned. But I think we want to try to avoid that sort of a situation.
So if we're going to have the schematics ready in 4 to 6 weeks, are you hoping, is the COA board hoping that we'll then be more than ready to have a special town meeting in January, and then look to go, by then we'll have adequate construction numbers based on the full design of the plan, so that we'd have numbers to go to an October town meeting for? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, or possibly, for some reason, we might want to have a special town meeting in, I don't know, August or September. But I think if we have a drop dead date of the October town meeting, then if all of our ducks are in a row, we can get any foundation work done probably before the snow flies.
Well, I know we can't wait till May town meeting to have this special meeting for the architectural fees, because we'll be run too close to
Right.
the October meeting.
Then that 5-month period that John Catlin was talking about, that puts us right back into the soup. Won't work.
Right.
The key is a January town meeting,
Yeah.
and then look forward to October.
Yeah.
And I think that in light of,
So what's 4 to 6 weeks? So
You
that
get-
would be 12/16.
The concept
6
plan.
weeks.
Conceptual plan.
It's after we sign everything with Catlin.
Yeah.
Which he basically has
It's
said,
had-
informally, he said to me, it's really just gonna be a matter of a few weeks that he'll get that done
Okay, so that's-
to present to FISP.
That's like 12/16, that's 6 weeks.
Right, so if FISP asked the selectmen to hold a special town meeting in January, we would need to, the selectmen would need to choose dates not only for the special town meeting,
In the election.
but also the election, because the cost for the architects, the engineering and the architects' fees are gonna be hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Right.
which obviously would need to be another debt exclusion vote. So we'd have to have the special town meeting and a debt exclusion election in January to get town approval for the funds, to borrow the funds. And then, assuming the town meeting and election approve that, John could quickly jump into full design mode. He's saying 5 months from start to bid ready.
Yes.
So then we'd have, similar to what happened with the police station, we'd have the bid opening just before the October town meeting.
I think we'd be much more comfortable. I think we have at least 2 or 3 weeks out there in the September-October period where that's our safety margin, where we'll get caught very short on the police station.
So if we have special town meeting sometime second week in January,
Then you have an election within a few days or a week of that,
In a week.
so second week,
and then we'll be ready for October town meeting.
22nd of January will be
For
the
the-
election,
Yep.
and then he has 5 months from that date to
Yeah.
get those.
Yep.
So if everything is ready,
Yeah,
maybe we can do
It'll
it
be
on.
early August, he should have everything done.
So that sounds reasonable, yes, Chris.
Assumedly, we do a series of presentations in the first 2 weeks of January.
No, we're gonna have a presentation for just the architectural money?
We didn't do
I
that
would-
last time.
There needs to be
I think
some,
you
We
gotta
need to be
build some
something.
excitement around this,
We're gonna
and some real sense among the voting
We will do something.
public that we really know what we're doing here.
We're definitely gonna do it for the October meeting. I mean.
Yeah,
we're gonna do the
after
same thing.
August,
After August, the same
September,
thing.
October,
But
we'll
we're
do.
gonna have to have some kind of couple, at least 2 public meetings for the money, to let them know what we're going for. We just can't tell them we're having a town meeting, special town meeting, what's it for.
I would agree.
They have to know what it's for.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
think
fall.
we ought to do like 3 or 4 sideshows,
Yeah.
like we did right here.
We'll do-
Yeah, sideshows.
We'll do a public thing like Jay and I did for the
Yeah, put
police
it on the
station.
cable
This
station.
is just for the
Just for the architectural fee.
architectural money, so that'll be, so that will, that'll be sometime between, what, this January 1st to January
I think it's
15th?
important that you do it no more than 2 weeks before the election, because otherwise people forget about it.
So you can't,
we'll have information to put on the website
Yeah.
before, middle of December.
Right.
So we can start doing it that way. The seniors can start getting the word out. And then if we schedule the information sessions right after the, January 1st, we can get a couple in there easily, I think.
before, if we have it around the
Yeah.
15th.
Yeah, I think,
Kind of a designed thing with the banner,
yeah,
like photographs of Catlin meeting with Lisa and the COA about the design and all that kind of thing.
he should have a conceptual plan to show. So,
26th. So we'll almost be on the same schedule for the road show as we just were. It'll be in September.
yeah, that's right, it
We can
will.
use the same, we can use the same
Might as
dates.
well. See if we can use the same locations again. People are used to going there
So
and
that's
it's
September.
friendly
yeah.
terms.
All right, so does that pretty much answer your
That's
schedule?
kind of a schedule.
Yes, it does, and I don't know whether we want to approve that as a tentative timeline structure, so that we can put that out to our people, letting them know that there really is no way we could possibly make the May town meeting.
No way.
No.
I don't know, do we want to wait till we get Catlin to one of the meetings and let him weigh in on this, and then we can,
Why don't we do it the next, because Catlin should be, not tomorrow night's meeting, but the meeting after that, Catlin should be here, I would assume, when he has some plans, something shows.
Yes,
And why don't we do it then?
So at the meeting that we always have at the end of the
End
month.
of the month, yeah.
will be the end of November.
Yeah.
November,
I don't have a calendar.
was it 30th?
Yeah, so then, that way there, he can weigh in
Yeah.
if he has any issues.
And I think then we can
But
give
this
him a
looks pretty
schedule.
good.
okay,
Does that work?
that's fine. But the people, I think my concern is that some of the folks right now are antsy that we might not be able to make the Springtown meeting. And now it's a fait accompli. We can't.
Right. But we'll have a special meeting before that.
Yes,
to get the
yes.
money. And so, so they
So
know.
Catlin's the 23rd, right?
No,
30th.
30th, the last one.
30th.
Last Wednesday.
All right. Try to wait for Ray. Is there anything else we need to talk about? I just, Ray asked us to wait for him to vote on the two money issues.
Okay.
All right.
I have something else.
Good.
I'm not gonna be at tomorrow's meeting,
Right.
but I wanted to bring a couple of documents so that people could review them and look at them and either respond or address them otherwise. So what you have here is two documents. One's an updated schedule as to where we are. That was issued, as Anita said, via Procore as well. The other is our design review document, which is our review of the complete construction documents issued to Catlin. You'll see there's a column in there for the architect engineering comment, where he writes back and says he either will or won't incorporate it, or maybe it's an owner issue or something to take up with the police department, or in some cases, just a clarification that will be given to the contractor. So because our design documents were out to bid so quickly, we didn't have time to do this and have him respond and incorporate these prior to bid. So there were some questions that we assume when the contractor really starts digging through, they will have questions. There was some other details, construction, where do drains go to, some, bubbles on drawings that may be different, that referred to a different drawing that didn't exist. You'll see on that list, there's also a place where I've written in 0. There's no cost impact for the architect to address those. Those are good. Others I've left blank, and it may say, hey, we need to look at something further down the road, or I'll review with the contractor. And a couple of them have to deal with furniture that we haven't really got into with the chief or the police department to say, are we doing shelving, are we doing rack furniture, or what? So I wanted you to have that so you could see the level of documentation review that was done, that John did see those, Reinhardt has responded, and we'll update that accordingly as we move into construction. The other is just an update on construction so that you can see, really how many activities are 100% complete at this point. We're ready to move into construction. The next phase of this, when we get the contractor on board, he has to produce his construction schedule. We don't dictate that to them. They will put together a construction schedule. How long do the foundations take? How long does the envelope take? We'll take that and incorporate some of those milestones in here so that we have a measuring track without going into his detail. Where is he today? So that you'll be able to see on a weekly basis he's hitting his milestones or he's missing his marks, one or the other. So I wanted to get those out to you so that you have them and either can respond to me via email or just have them for tomorrow's meeting.
Tony, you were saying the contractor responsible for the hay up in the,
Correct.
so they can just do that before they can start removing the topsoil?
If the DPW is going to remove the topsoil, we should have erosion control in place. Correct.
So will he be able to do that before they?
That's what we're hoping. I don't have that definitive answer yet.
Is it in the sides, or is it
It's all the way up the road,
in front of the road?
right?
Yeah.
So that we're not washing out into
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
easement.
right.
We need to leave that passable, we need to widen it out,
Yeah.
and we need to protect the runoff and take any water that does come on site via rain or otherwise and direct it back down to the detention area.
The VHP got that stormwater management plan?
VHB does have everything that they've requested at this point.
Yeah.
They got it, they wrote back and said, geez, we just got it yesterday, the meeting's a week away. We don't know if we'll have time to respond.
So that's the only thing, big thing missing in the planning board.
Well, let's,
Twice.
we'll get some time, let's start doing a review of this, and we can, wait for
Yes.
Ray.
No, just curious to know.
All right, so do you wanna, stop and just like, all the stuff, like, the site locus map, and, John said he will provide, do you have a copy of this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, okay.
So,
These
yes,
are- Just so
mostly,
everybody knows, this is the planning board's review from their, from, who they hired to review this plan for the town,
Their engineer.
their engineer. Okay.
so I'll just kind of surmise each of these. The first one says, okay, on the big set of plans, you should show us 1,000-foot distance. Where is the site located in town, just in case anybody doesn't know? Okay, fine, we can put that on there. So John's saying, yeah, okay, we will provide this, that. The third one, 36D1.G, really says the lines of the existing budding streets, they wanted to go 200 feet beyond that. We didn't know that request was there at the time. I don't know why. We would have had the surveyor go up and down the street 200 feet, locating people's driveways. It's something particular to this community, not a particular project or a typical site survey. So we're gonna request that they waive that.
Okay.
We don't impact anybody else's property. We're not bringing utilities in or out from anybody's other property other than the site, and you've owned the site. It's not like we're having to do new property lines or a subdivision, so hopefully they'll waive that. And those are kind of some of the things that are in here. The second one, again, location of all structures, okay, 200 feet. We're not going into people's yards, locating their sheds. We'd need waivers, easements, property access. We just typically don't do that.
These are all additional costs too, isn't it?
It would be additional cost.
Do we know why they're asking for these?
I'm guessing it's
That's the
something they
site plan.
ask of everybody.
That's the site plan regulations. That's how they go. All the site plans, these are all required.
Well, we can certainly, I can't believe they would ask someone to go in somebody else's yard and do that.
That seems like it's a stretch.
Okay, so we're gonna ask for a
Or
waiver.
waive.
Yeah,
Right.
And we asked that from the planning board.
you were there, at the time, they were agreed on most of the things.
Right. So this is, if you printed it in color, the responses in red are John's responses. So his goal is to just submit this to them based on your review tomorrow. If you're in
Yeah.
agreement with him asking for waivers for these things, then he'll submit this. They have the stormwater calculations, they have the other items that they've requested. Hopefully, they just show up next week and agree to these waivers. There are no FEMA flood zones,
No.
so, we can't show what's not there. Waiver has been requested for traffic pattern. We're assuming we're not gonna
Right.
dramatically increase or change traffic, but if they really want to, then yes, that's gonna be a cost item, and it's gonna take some time to generate a traffic
Well,
study.
I'm sure they'll be reasonable about that and give us a waiver on that.
Didn't Reinhardt say he had some stuff in regards to traffic, but not a full study?
Right, we didn't do a full study. Snow storage location, VHB recommends paving it. Some people want pavement so that you're able to sweep it, clean it, not have trash and debris. If you're plowing a street, it's much different. This is your parking lot. Yes, if there's a lot of salt on it, you're gonna kill the lawn. Yes, if there's a lot of drainage, you would want to capture that water into a catch basin in a paved lot and bring it to the detention basin. Either way, this is all gonna drain to the same place, and it's on your property, so, we're
Would-
hoping that we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I would not recommend doing that anyhow, because, just for the reason you said.
It's more pavement, it's
Exactly.
more maintenance,
Exactly.
it's less green space. One trades off the other, you want green space as much as possible.
I think the board seemed like they were okay
Yeah, they
okay
agree.
with not paving that.
Right.
That's my thought of the meeting that night.
Yep. And again, this isn't the board's recommendations,
Right,
The engineer-
it's their
the
consultant.
VHB.
So one engineer likes to pave his snow storage areas, somebody else maybe doesn't, So next one is the project is located within a residential district and 30-foot buffer zone. This building is a municipal use, it's not a business use. So John has prepared their response based on that, and feels that we do have the appropriate setback and buffer zone.
And I think, you know, we want to be a good neighbor to them, so obviously we're going to do some plantings and to make them comfortable. We talked to one of the ones actually about going on his property and putting some trees in, didn't we?
And they were both, two of the neighbors were at the planning board meeting.
They were,
Yeah,
okay.
they asked some questions and they talked after. So
Okay, good.
they understand they,
They-
I think
they were
got
asking-
Tony's contact information if they had any questions.
Yep.
They were asking possibly some fencing too.
The gentleman in the middle was still looking at that, but Tony, I think you said you were gonna talk to
I
him.
will meet with him when we're out there.
He is close, there's no question.
Yeah.
But then we talked originally about putting a little bit of fence
Just at the-
outside of the back, the patio area. Yeah,
That's
And that
that's
is,
the area.
there's a little bit of fence there, but
yeah, he wanted more.
His thought is wherever, you know, if there's a tree, he's still gonna see right into the,
his trees, for whatever reason, are limbed high. So even though when you drive by, you see a lot of green and a lot of tree, at standing height, there isn't a lot of vegetation. It's been killed off by the taller trees above, and he's able to look right out there at the side of a building, which currently he does not see.
Okay.
So
And he
it's-
was also asking for a closer trees too.
Right.
We'll put them closer, I mean.
Well,
but
yeah.
but I like the,
Yeah,
it
provided
was a
it's
good
something
answer,
that-
it was a good answer by,
If you put them too close together, they'll choke out, so you space them so
Right.
that they
They
have
grow,
time to
right.
grow.
Yeah.
So his concern was, okay, well, in 5 years, that's great, but what do I do for the first 5 years?
what we suggested, I think Ryan, didn't he suggest put like two here?
Right.
And then one.
You can
away
stack.
from- and That way there they won't.
Right.
On his property,
And-
on the back.
Yeah, I think
Right.
He agreed for that, but he also suggested, maybe some fencing. That's what he said, finally.
Well, like I said, we want to be good neighbors, so I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll come up with something will make him happy and make the
Those are
town
the
happy.
two, just those two
Yeah.
gentlemen were the only two that.
Okay.
The last one under this category is sight distance. We didn't put on the plan what the sight line distance is, say from the sign or from the driveway if a cruiser's pulling out. What are the lines of sight? How far can they see? And so John has that information now. So they'll get this not only on the revised plan, but they'll get the response in writing, so they can just go through and check these items off. Stormwater management plan has been submitted to the engineer, and they will review the items listed below. And that covers the next page as well, down through item 8, to general engineering and plan comments. And this is more just adding notes and meeting with representatives. So yes, we added a note onto the plan, and we'll bring this up with the contractor. So some of these, as with the drawing revision notes that I've given you on a separate sheet, we're gonna take and cut paste these right into the meeting minutes for the kickoff meeting with the contractor, so that when we're there, we're addressing these items and really carrying them from planning board to F.I.S.P meeting to the meeting with the contractor. And we'll carry those for several items through, so that they know they're not taking, there's no wooded vegetation that we're cutting down anyways, but it needs to be noted on the plan that we're in that area. I had asked the DCR rep, and because we were not in their area, they didn't give me anything in
Right.
writing. They said, you're not in our jurisdiction,
Right.
you know, I can send you an email, but they seem to be okay with that. Planning board seemed to accept that.
They want to put a stop sign?
Where's that one? The number's there, number 5, you mean?
Yeah.
Did you jump to? Okay.
We're on
Yep.
3,
Yeah,
right?
three.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Three.
I'm reading ahead.
Yep, that's okay.
Cheated.
So 3.
You know, according to GIS wetland, we've done that, the response is
Right.
there. We have no negative determination. We have ample site distances, site frontage will be planted with lawn. We've increased the trees in between the parking. We've proposed planting on the opposite side of the driveway. So we feel that we've addressed those items. The stop sign, yes, we should put a stop sign there. The resident that lives up there knows to stop, assuming your police officers know to stop and, not go racing out into the street.
I think it should be flashing red.
But somebody leaving the site, visiting, pays a ticket, otherwise aggravated and goes racing out of there, we want them to stop first. Traffic diagrams, vehicle tracking patterns inside the site, occupying the parking spaces, dual direction, street, easement, drive lane. Now it's not just your driveway, so they can add those arrows to show which way the traffic flows on site very easily. The parking lot, number 7, really deals with that front public parking area. It was kept very narrow in a means to reduce the amount of pavement. They would like that width in between the aisle, and it is a dead-end aisle, but they would like that looked at as 24 feet. So that would push the parking spaces closest to the building, a little bit closer to the building. We'd have to take a couple feet out of there, maybe 1 foot out of the detention pond side, 3 out of the other, and widen that out.
We're at 20 right now.
We're at 20.
How many parkings are there in the front?
Let's say there's 10 and 10, 10,
We
12
could take
on
one
each
of the
side.
parking out.
No,
We don't need-
they need it, they need it between
No,
the
if you
spots.
take one parking out, instead of 20, we can put 19 parkings.
That's not what
Yeah,
the,
No.
that's not what they're saying.
It's the other width.
In between.
They need it between each road. Car here, they want 24 feet between these two cars. So, yes.
That's not a requirement, that's just,
That's a,
And that's what he's saying, your regulations state provide adequate width. In a parking, this isn't a Walmart or Kohl's parking lot where you have a large volume of, as I'm saying, there's only 10 and 10 on each side. If there's a large event and you fill that for some after-hours event, people aren't driving through. Remember, it's a dead-end lane. It's not like you loop around an aisle of parking looking for a spot. You pull in and you back out and you leave,
So
so,
John is saying it should remain as designed, correct?
correct.
And this is why John wants to have the meeting tomorrow, so we can all go every one of these things with us and we can vote on them. So he has the correct responses that the board wants to present to the planning board.
So we
Right.
could.
These are his responses.
Right,
You may say, you know what,
right.
just do it. Right?
So will we have to ask for a waiver on that one?
I don't think so, because.
That's just, that's not a waiver of anything.
Suggestion wasn't a requirement.
Our bylaws and things say it just has to be adequate.
Correct.
Right.
So we wouldn't need a waiver.
And we feel it's adequate. VHB thinks 24 is adequate.
Right. Building area, how many square feet should be added to the site plan? Yep, you'll comply with that. Size of 2 underground fuel storage tanks. Those were referenced on the mechanical plan. Dual listing of equipment can lead to potential conflicts of information, so you try to note things on one plan versus another. They can have it on the plan, it's not that big of a
Anyway.
deal.
Pull the chair up, we're ready for you to vote on it. All right,
VHB recommends relocating the proposed light pole along the western pavement edge outside the limits of the proposed swale. It's a 6-inch swale at its center. We're trying to keep poles away from the swale, off the edge of the pavement. And the grade is only 3 inches lower. John's gonna have to explain that one. I don't know what he's intending to do, or why 3 feet is, 4 feet off is any different.
Ray, just bring up, we just went over some, from the planning board engineers
Okay.
And we're just gonna, we have a meeting tomorrow night to go over with the architect, all these things, but Tony's just one of a few things, we're just waiting for you so we can vote on the other.
Thank you.
Number 11 talks about the cross slopes in the parking area, and the way I describe this to folks is if you park your car on a very steep slope and you open the door, it's either hard to open it or it closes back on you, something to that effect. Well, the maximum is 2%. And so they're recommending something less than that. 2% is not gonna throw your door open
Right.
or slam it back on your leg. We need to monitor that during construction to make sure that it doesn't creep to 2.5, 3, you know. And all John's saying is we deal with that during construction. Unless they really want flat parking and you say, great, just flatten it all out and we'll deal with drainage. Otherwise, it's a recommended slope. Rim elevation we can provide, that's easy. VHB recommends layout dimensions be carried to the 10th decimal. Some dimensions are, some aren't. If the building committee so advises, such as 32 feet versus 32.0 feet. He'll go back and he'll revise all his dimensions, you know. Again, this is, you know, how one engineer does a set of drawings versus another. It's not a right or wrong thing, but, and I'm sure John would, my guess would be there would be no charge for that. If it were that critical that it needed to be 32.5, it would probably be noted as such.
It says it's recommendation, they're not required.
Right.
So that's our out.
It's that engineers, the way their office does it, they carry it to the 10th decimal, even if the decimal is a 0 versus just saying 32 feet. Okay?
But the recommendations from VHB, the planning board could say,
It's
The planning
okay.
board can say, we're fine with it the way it is.
or we want it done.
Or they can say, we accept their recommendation, go change your drawings.
Okay.
Similarly, number 14, they'd like to see granite curb provided along the main driveway and curb radii. Does it hold up better? Sure. Plowing wise, if people are hitting it, granite definitely holds up, maintains better, looks nicer.
Cost
We don't have it in the budget.
Exactly.
So it's a nice recommendation, but it's an additional
Right.
expense.
But some of the board members on that said, you know, you can just do.
Right.
Keep going, okay.
Keep it from view.
Yeah,
So
thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Reinhardt Associates is prepared to submit these. They've issued them tonight so that you can have a chance to review them and debate them, and if not, they will submit them to planning board with the approval of the committee that you have seen these and you agree with either the recommendations or your engineer's response thereto, and you wish to proceed.
So tomorrow everybody, if you can get a chance to look at them tonight and tomorrow night at the meeting, John will be here, 6 o'clock.
Tony, wasn't there some question about the dumpster having some different type of fence around it? I know it's not in here, but
Yes,
the board did bring it
a
up.
solid privacy fence, not just chain link.
Well, can you put slats over the,
Can you just,
Chief
Or,
addressed
yeah.
that. Chief addressed that.
okay.
Well, no, the chief addressed the
Oh,
impound,
the
sorry.
yeah, they impound, they were talking about the dumpster.
They were
Did you
talking
have
about the
a
dumpster.
comment about the,
No, the dumpster, he talked about the impound.
Right. They suggested that they put chain link fence with razor wire, and then maybe in the view of the neighbors, maybe they can put those little inserts or something.
that's what you usually do
On the
around the
backside.
dumpster also.
Yeah.
That's what they usually do around the dumpster also.
I don't think that I remember bringing it up.
Razor wire on the house.
No,
No,
the slats.
seagulls.
Oh, you'll see those.
All right, let's get back to the contract award to RIC. You have a recommendation?
I do. I didn't bring enough, however, but I did send this out earlier.
Yeah.
And I'll read for those that don't have one. So,
I read it.
it says on Wednesday, October 5th, the town of West Boylston received bids for the proposed police station at 141 Sterling Street. Based on your previous acceptance and subsequent approval at town meeting, the lowest bidder is RAC Builders in the amount of $4,047,000, inclusive of ad alternates 1 through 4. The piece of information that comes from DCAM is in the next paragraph. Their largest single project is $12,788,221, and they completed that last July. Second largest is $6,038,038, and that was completed in November of 2015. They have a single project limit. The biggest dollar volume single project they can bid is a $16,086,000, and the aggregate, the total volume of work that the state monitors is they cannot have an aggregate work limit in excess of $34,886,000. They have an average rating of 92 out of 100, and that's based on their last 39 projects that were received at their last update. So when the state goes through and does their update, they use all this information in factoring both their aggregate limit and their single project limit. So there's a multiplier there that says you've done this many projects, you've got a 92 rating, and that's how contractors continue to get larger and larger projects. In going through their references, I spoke to Westboro Town Hall. That was their second largest project. Peter Collins from Erie International was the OPM. I spoke to an architect from Knight Baggy Anderson, from Castle Booze Associates on the Orleans Police Station. That's one of their current projects that was listed. And Oak Courts, which is a large housing development, I believe in Northampton. All of them were given very good results. They've all worked with Tom Roschilla, who is the gentleman that's named in your bid package as our project manager. None of them had anything negative to say that I would, be able to seek a state rejection from with any validity. Their project that they're currently working on is an 11,000, they worked on a police station with me, about 11,000 square feet in the town of Montague. I think I mentioned that to a few of you, and we had positive experience with them in that project. Currently, John McMillan, Reinhardt Associates, I think he said he's working on 3 projects with them currently that they're on time, on budget, and performing well on. So they are below their limits in all regards, and I recommend you award to them the project in the amount of $4,047,000 and accept alternates 1 through 4.
A recommendation?
I make a recommendation that we
Second.
have to make a recommendation for it, though. Or we just want to go with Tony's?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, so
Perfect.
we got a motion and a second.
Correct.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Tony. All right, and we have one more thing.
One other thing.
Okay, good.
Anita, did you see my email today to David Dineski?
Yes, I did.
So he had responded that he was gonna follow up, and then I dug through, and I didn't see where he responded to me at all. If you could just check back.
Yep.
And make sure that he didn't email you directly on the contract language changes. But as soon as I get those, we'll start the process. And the contractor's been notified.
Yep. And we will put this on the agenda for the November 16th Selectmen's meeting,
Okay.
2 weeks from now, for signing. By then, we'll have all the contract language and
Yep.
everything worked out.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Getting back to the senior center, we have a,
John, before we move on,
I'm sorry.
As far as the next steps in the contract preparation, is this a standard contract? Is it highly customized?
It's an
Are we gonna be
AIA
looking at it?
agreement, so it's part of the architectural set of documents, the general conditions. So the AIA owner-contractor agreement ties the general conditions, AIA documents to the contract documents. It's generally reviewed and has been reviewed by council. They will go through and make sure, because AIA is national, typically your town attorney will go through and make sure that those sections that need to comply with our state statutes are amended as such in a supplemental general conditions. So the contract itself is not amended, but there's a supplemental set of conditions that the local municipal attorney will go through and say, okay, well, that's great for everybody else. This is how I want to defend my clients. So there'll be some minor changes,
So this is a draft standard form of contract that's being used?
yes. Amended to what your council is typically using in construction.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks.
All right, and we also have Catlin Architectural Contract Services. We need a vote of this committee to recommend the Board of Selectmen sign the contract with Catlin for the senior center.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so next meeting is tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We're gonna, John from Reinhardt's gonna be here, and we're gonna go over everything with him. So if everybody can just do their homework. And then, I think if that's it, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much.